Hello everyone, today is the day 10 of the assignment. Let us see some questions. The first question is pick a login screen of the app.taskforce.com and write all the test cases scenarios. So the app.taskforce.com has the login page, that is sign in page, which has email content, password, content, forgot password and submit button, and the I button, which is to show the passwords. So this is simple page. So if we go to the test cases, here this is a test case ID, and this is a browser used, and these are test description. Let us see the first one. The first one is verify the taskforce.com is able to access the Chrome. So first we have to make sure that whether it is able to open with a particular web browser. So here we are using the Chrome browser. So the test input is navigate to the taskforce.com. So the expected output should be, it should open. So the actual output is as expected because it was opening. So as you can see, the app.taskforce.com. So it is successfully opening the Chrome website, Chrome web browser. So after that, next one is we have to verify whether the login screen contains elements such as the email, password, forgot password, submit button, and all those things. So as you can see here, so everything is there in the particular field. So all the elements button should be present. So as expected, the result is pass. So next one is verify that all the fields such as username has a valid placeholder. So we have to check whether we have a particular placeholder for this thing. So here we have not specified particular kind of any placeholder, but developer can have a specified placeholder here. So next one is whether verify that whether all the text boxes have a minimum and maximum length. Here we are considering email must be having certain kinds of specifications, like it should contain special characters, 0 to 9 numbers, all those things. But when you go inside this, there is no particular kind of attributes here. So that's why it fails the testing here. So we can mark the result as failed. And also the password, if you type some password here and also if you submit the button, so it shows email must be a valid email address only, but password doesn't show anything other than that. So we can conclude from this that for this particular testing, it fails, the result is failed. The next one is verify that app.taskforce.com user interface responsive on different kinds of resolutions over here. So the resolution is like, if I minimize this, so it is working fine. So all this is changes is made and it works perfectly fine. So this is also fast. After that, we check for the valid email, password, and valid email address. So once it is done, it is also should be passed. So because of particular login features. So after that, we check for the different login ID, that is valid email ID once, and the next one is invalid email ID. So when you are giving one valid email ID and the invalid password, it should unsuccessful. It should show the page as unsuccessful login. And also we have to check whether the user is redirected to the appropriate page after the login is done. That means once you log in, it should enter the home page. So after that, we have to make another case, that is invalid email and valid password. So in the previous, we have checked for valid email and invalid password. We are doing the vice versa. So it should also work for that. Next one is verify that the user is not redirected to the appropriate page. So once the user is unsuccessful login, so it should not go into the home page. So if it goes to the home page, that is that is kind of default in the programming of the application. Next one is we have to check the forgot password link. So if you check the forgot password button, so if you check that forgot password, it should go to the password page where we can change our password. Next, after clicking that password, we have to change the old password to the new password. Once the new password is entered, it should store the database should store the new password and should delete the old password. But once we log in with the new password, it should successfully log in. So if we enter with the old password, it should not log in. It should unsuccessfully log in. That means it should not log inside that page. So if it log in inside that page with the old password, that is a particular show of the default application. The next one is the uh, test where we use the different web browser. Here the different web browser is Internet Explorer. So I have used the Internet Explorer to open this particular website or application, but the site did not open. So that is why the result is failed. As you can see, so this is the Internet Explorer. So the google.com is working. So if I open the taskforce.com, it is not opening. It is redirecting me to different server here. This server, so you can change from this server to another server because of different modes. But when you enter this as a user perspective, if I enter this website address, so it should open particularly the same web page, but it is not opening. So hence the result is failed here. Now next we shall see the next question, that is let us know which test scenario you will execute in case of smoke testing, sanity testing, retesting, regression, cross-browser, acceptance testing. So now let us see one by one. So if you take the smoke testing is nothing but the testing where only the basic functional features are tested here. So using the build. So when it comes to the basic features are like whether it is able to access the Chrome, whether it is able to get into the login page, whether it is able to have a particular buttons, or whether it is able to have a login with valid email ID, and whether it is able to not log in into a different email ID, which is not valid email ID. All these things are comes under the smoke testing. Next one is sanity testing. Sanity testing is the testing where we test the specific or functionalities on the actually tested build or the actually tested one. So here in the sanity testing, we test the particular functionality which is already tested by the smoke testing. So once it is done by the smoke testing, we check with the sanity testing for the particular fields like whether the page is working with the different login. So if we enter the different login code or the wrong password or the wrong email address, whether it works or not. So all these things we use in the sanity testing. And also the sanity testings contains the GUI response like changing the different platforms, resolutions, applications or devices. All these things are comes under sanity testing. Next one is the cross-browser testing. In the cross-browser testing, we check with the different kinds of browsers here, whether the applications works on the different browser. Here, the first one, we use the Chrome browser. The Chrome browser perfectly works well for this particular application. When it comes to the Internet Explorer, it did not open that site. So hence we make it as a fail, and also we mark it as the different defect number with severity, whether it is low, high, or priority with high here. Next is retesting. Retesting is nothing but testing again and again the same applications on the same build. So here we are testing the applications whether to have check the functionality, whether it is working properly or not. Here we are checking the application by using the same email ID again and again, and with the different email IDs and different passwords and invalid email ID and invalid passwords. All these things we are checking again and again and testing again and again to check the functionality of its application. Next one is regression testing. So regression testing is also a kind of testing where we test again and again on the different build here. So once we consider where we have changed the password. So once you change the password, there is a change in the database. So also there is also a change on the different passwords, and it should update with a different password for the next login features. So once we are doing this, we have to change it again and again. So sorry, test it again and again so that we can know that the application is working perfectly fine for the different change in the passwords or the change in the email ID, all these things. Next one is acceptance testing. So acceptance testing is nothing but we check the entire functionality of the application on the client's server or the client side. So we usually what we do is we check the overall functionality of particular application. Yeah, in the presence of the client or in the client's server. So this is what we do in the user acceptance testing. So user acceptance testing or acceptance testing will have two types, that is alpha testing and beta testing. So alpha testing consists of testing under the developer side, whereas beta testing is done at the client side. So next we shall see the third question, that is what is Graybox testing? Please explain it example. Graybox testing is nothing but it is the combination of black box testing and the white box testing. So Graybox testing will have the partial internal structure knowledge, where here the tester will have the knowledge of the coding also. So we have different kinds of Graybox testing inside. We can employ it. The first one is integration testing, where two modules are integrated together, and also the penetration testing. So when it comes to the penetration testing, the security features of the programming or application is tested. So sometimes the application is more vulnerable to the outside environment where firewall is not installed or the security measures are not taken. In that case, the actual program or the application is more vulnerable to the security harms. So for that, in order to get to know that whether the particular application is susceptible to the security environment or the harmful environment, the penetration testing is done. Next one is we can see the examples of Graybox testing. So the Graybox testing examples are like whenever you are using a particular website, so the hyperlink doesn't work. So when it doesn't work, the hyperlink, so you can go directly into that particular web page or the HTML page. You can make changes in that particular HTML page. So this is how the tester will know the partial code knowledge. So how the HTML page is built and how that is working, so that he can make changes and he can detect the defects, and also he can overcome by making some solutions for that page also. The next example is sometimes it gives the internal server error. So the server error may be different kinds of number, that is 404, 500, etc., etc. So when we get this kind of internal server error, we will get the report also with that server report. So we can see that server report and we can make changes for that particular type. So this is how we can overcome the problem of not knowing the code knowledge. So these are the few examples for Graybox testing. So why we particularly use the Graybox testing? Because there are many features like we can have the combined benefits of white box testing and also black box testing. When we mix together both the white box testing and the black box testing, we can have the utmost benefits. So, and also we can overcome the improper structure or improper use of the applications while in the development stage or in using the testing stage. And next one is less time consumption when it compares with the other kinds of testing. So this Graybox testing consumes less time, and also this is only based on the requirements, which is not it does not have a unnecessary testing also. So Graybox testing mainly tests on the user point of view and instead of testing on the developer's point of view or the tester point of view. So overall, the quality enhancement is more in terms of Graybox testing. So this is why the Graybox testing is used widely. Next, we can see the applications where functional testing are used, are employed in the Graybox testing, and also using the domain testing also, and in during the web applications. So all these things, Graybox testing comes into the picture. So this is all about today's training. So thank you.